Right then, Tuesday the 22nd of July. And let me just start off by saying, cheers for joining me again. Hope you're all keeping well wherever you're tuning in from. Time for a proper update on everything Celtic, and it's been a bit of a quiet spell, hasn't it? Feels like the transfer chat's dried up a wee bit over the past week or so. I know we had the signing of Shin Yamada at the weekend, which was good to see. But beyond that, not much noise. Now that doesn't necessarily mean things aren't happening behind the scenes. Celtic are known for working quietly sometimes, and maybe the club's keeping things under wraps until they're ready to announce. But come on, this is Celtic. We all know the drill by now. Even in the best of times, there's always a fair bit of worry flying about during a transfer window. So I think it's only fair we talk about it properly, go over where we're at just now, and have a look at what might be coming down the line. Now, before I forget, how could I have missed it? We did get a bit of a headline grabber yesterday. The Daily Record threw out a belter of a headline about a so-called twist in the Luis Montano transfer. Apparently, after Celtic's bid, there's been some boardroom drama, $15.5 million deal being discussed, and a whole load of nonsense about a big F from the boss. These headlines these days, man, they're designed to be as dramatic and messy as possible. Feels like they just chuck words at the wall to see what sticks, as long as it gets folk clicking. I mean, fair play, it works for them, but I hope we never get to that point here. Let's keep it honest, Anyway, let's get back to the football. The big picture right now is that things have gone a wee bit still when it comes to transfers. Brendan Rodgers said after the game on Saturday that there's still a lot of work to do, and he expects players to come in before the end of the window. Players for key positions that we definitely need reinforcements in. So with that in mind, let's talk about squad depth. I know it's only the 22nd of July, things can and will change quickly. But as it stands, here's where we're at. Starting with the goalkeepers, I'm fairly happy there. I think most fans are. Kasper Schmeichel is the number one just now, and that's fine by me. The plan clearly seems to be that Sensational is being groomed to be the future number one, and there's a lot of hope pinned on him. But for now, Schmeichel's experience is invaluable, especially going into a season where we're hoping to make waves in Europe. Right back, no issues there either. Alistair Johnston is top class. One of the best we've had in that position in recent years, no doubt. Tony Ralston as a backup might divide opinion a wee bit, but I think he's more than solid. Had a very good start to preseason, quietly going about his business and putting in decent shifts. I don't think we need any business done there. Left back gets a bit more interesting. Kieran Tierney being back is massive. We all know what he brings, no debate there, but the backup situation is still a wee bit unclear. When Hayato Amamura signed, it was expected that he'd play more as a left-sided center half, based on his time at Albirex Niigata, but so far we've only seen him playing at left back. Not a single minute at center back yet, which makes you wonder. Maybe Rodgers sees him as Tierney's direct backup, and look, to be fair to the lad, he's looked decent so far. I'm not going to get carried away. It's still early doors, and the real test will come once the competitive matches start, especially in Europe and against some of the tougher sides in the league. But as things stand, I'm not too fussed. If Amamura continues to impress, I can see him getting plenty of minutes this season. So between him and Tierney, I'm fairly content for now. Now center back. This is where I think we've got a proper gap. For me, this is the first position that really needs strengthened. We're one big signing away from having a proper top-class defense. It's not just about filling a spot. It needs to be someone who's genuinely Champions League caliber. Our track record with center backs hasn't been great. We've had too many that look decent on paper, but end up making costly mistakes or just don't get trusted by the manager. That's why Cameron Carter-Vickers is held in such high regard by the fans, because he's consistent. Barely puts a foot wrong. He's going into his 5th season now, and you can count his mistakes on one hand. What we need is another Carter-Vickers type to partner him, someone who just slots in and raises the level of the whole backline. And imagine that. Schmeichel and Goal, Johnston at right back, Tierney at left, and a Carter-Vickers plus one center-half pairing. That's a European level defense, no question. Liam Scales and Austin Trusty, they've had their moments. I think they're reliable enough as squad options, but I wouldn't want to go into the Champions League with either of them as first choice beside Carter-Vickers. Dane Murray has promise, sure, but he's still young and untested at the top level. So we need that marquee center back, and we need him soon. Moving up the pitch, midfield is looking pretty strong, I have to say. The core 6 are quality, and if we manage to hold on to Rio Hadid, that's huge. Benjamin Negrin is already looking like a brilliant addition. It's early days, but he's showing signs of real class, alongside McGregor and Haddad. That's a midfield three that can boss games. Then you've got the likes of Bernardo Holm and Luka McGregor, all with something to prove. Bernardo in particular, he's the Portugal under-21 captain. He needs to be stepping up and pushing for that starting spot. I'd like to see more from Holm this season. I think he's got real potential, so all in all, if nobody leaves, I'm actually quite happy with the midfield. But the attacking third is where it gets messy. That's the area that needs serious attention. Starting with the wings, we can't rely on Jota this season. Best case scenario, he's back at the tail end of the campaign and gets a run of games, but until then, we're basically going without him. I'd be looking for the wingers to come in. You could maybe argue for just one if you're counting someone like Lee Labata or Mikey Johnston. But realistically, we need a quality right winger to replace Nicholas Kuhn. That's non negotiable. And on the left, I'd accept a loan, maybe. One with an option to buy, just to get us through this season while Jota recovers. But we need fresh legs out wide, no doubt about it. Then up front, that's a bit of a strange one. We've got 4 strikers on paper, but every single one has question marks. Callum Osman, I think he could end up going out on loan. A couple of weeks ago, I wouldn't have said that, given how recently he was signed, but from what we've seen in preseason, he's looking like 5th choice already. Even before Yamada has played a competitive minute. Preseason's one thing. You get loads of subs, loads of rotation, but once the competitive matches start, only the strikers will likely get minutes. Being 4th or 5th in that queue means no game time at all. I'd loan him to another Scottish Premiership side, get him some proper first team experience, and reassess next year. Johnny Kenny's the interesting one. Some folk are saying he might be our main striker going into the season. I wouldn't be against it. He's shown flashes of real ability, and with the right service, I think he could do a job, but it's likely that Rodgers goes with Adam Ida for the opening games. He's got experience and he's got goals in him, but I just don't see him as the long-term number one. And then there's Shen Yamada, the big unknown. Is he the next Kyogo, a prolific scorer who hits the ground running, or is he a different type altogether? Hard to say until we've seen him in proper action. But despite having 4 names on the list, I still think we need a proper starting striker. Someone with real star quality. Someone who walks into the starting 11 and raises the level of the whole attack. So yeah, I've got my shopping list: 1 top-class center back, 1 starting right winger, a left wing option on loan, and a quality number 9. If we manage that, this squad suddenly looks very strong. More than capable of challenging for everything domestically and having a proper go in Europe. So speaking of the Champions League, things are heating up fast. A lot of folk might not realize just how tight the timeline is now. We've got the playoff round looming, and the club needs to submit the official squad for that round by Thursday, the 14th of August at 11 o'clock at night, Celtic Park time. Now the good news is UEFA does allow a bit of wiggle room. We can still register to new signings up until the night before the first leg, so basically even if we don't get everything wrapped up by the 14th, there's still a window open till the 18th or 19th of August, depending on which night we play. But still, that's not a lot of time, especially when you're trying to bring in key players. And let's be honest, we've not exactly been quick off the mark in previous windows. Feels like we drag these things out longer than anyone else. I don't know if it's just a Celtic thing or if every fanbase feels this way about their club. But my God, we do love a transfer saga. 1 minute we're linked, next minute we're waiting on a medical. Then silence for 2 weeks. It's exhausting. And look, it's not just about bringing players in. It's about getting them bedded and match fit up to speed with the squad and ready for high-pressure European football. You can't just throw someone in cold and expect them to deliver. Now, before we even get to the playoff tie, UEFA's early qualifying rounds are already underway. Round 2 actually kicks off tonight. We're not in it yet. Celtic coming at the playoff stage. But the pieces of the puzzle are starting to take shape. The 3rd round draw was already made just as a formality, and even though the matches haven't been played yet, it does help us figure out who we might face later on. And just to make things even more complicated, there's all these winner of X these Y situations with teams from countries you probably couldn't find on a map without a deep Google session. What we do know is that there are a handful of clubs we absolutely can't face under UEFA's rules. Copenhagen, Crvena Zvezda, or Red Star Belgrade if you prefer, Ferencvaros and Bodo Glimt. Those are the 4 we're protected from playing. Now you look at the fixtures in round 2 and realistically you'd fancy all of them to go through. Copenhagen are playing Dita Red Star, have Lincoln Red Imps, and Ferencvaros are facing Noah. so I safe to assume those 3 are making it to the next round. Once they're in round 3, that basically rules out a load of potential opponents for us, because of how the draw is structured. So teams like Mametlek Poznań, Rijeka, and Ludogorets, they all become unlikely for us to face in the playoff, and that leaves us with a smaller pool of teams we might be drawn against. Basel and Sturm Graz are the 2 names that keep popping up. They're strong sides, not unbeatable, but they definitely make for tough playoff ties. I think we'd be favorites against either of them, but you're not exactly licking your lips at the idea of a trip to Austria or Switzerland midweek either. So while nothing's confirmed yet, we're starting to get a clearer picture of who's out there. Slovan Bratislava, Dinamo Batumi, Karabakh. Those kinds of clubs are starting to look like real possibilities. Nothing easy, that's for sure. But if we get our recruitment right in the next couple weeks, I back us against any of them. Switching gears for a second, there's been some player movement worth talking about. Luis Palma's loan move to Lech Poznań is now official. It was announced yesterday, and the interesting part is that it includes an option to buy at the end of the deal. Now, what caught my attention is that he flew to Poland straight from Honduras via Amsterdam, so he never even came back to Scotland after playing in the Gold Cup. Makes you wonder if he's already mentally moved on from Celtic. Maybe he's got someone packing up his stuff and shipping it over, who knows. Either way, wish him well. It's probably best for both parties at this point. Another one that slipped under the radar a bit, Jude Bonner. Didn't get the usual fancy announcement from Ayr United, but turns out he's gone there on loan. We know this because he scored an absolute screamer for them at the weekend. Curled it in with his right foot after skinning a defender. Class goal. He spoke after the match about how Brendan Rodgers and Scott Brown had a wee chat before preseason. And it sounds like this move was in the works for a while. The key thing here is that Celtic can recall him at any point. That's part of the loan agreement. So if we hit an injury crisis or need extra depth later in the season, he could be brought back sharpish. And speaking of loans, there was a report that Collier might be heading to Partick Thistle. Their gaffer Mark Wilson, who we all know from his time here, apparently wants him in. Year's currently the captain of our under-18s, and he looked tidy when he featured in preseason. Lovely left foot. It's not confirmed yet, but if he goes, that would be a traditional season-long loan, no instant recall clause. That's because Celtic already have a partnership loan agreement with Ayr United, and you can only do one of those per league. So if Yer does head to Thistle, he'd be there for the full campaign. And you know what, I'm glad to see these young lads going out and getting minutes, as long as there's a plan in place and not just sending them away to disappear for a year. I'm all for it. Give them a real shot at coming back stronger, ready for first-team football. But I do hope we're not just loaning them out for the sake of it. Now onto another transfer line from yesterday. This one came from Jibril Recap, the representative of Michelangelo Balikwisha. He told the Daily Record that Balikwisha isn't closed off to the idea of coming to Celtic, but no discussions are happening just now. And I'll be honest, it feels like one of those sagas that's just going to fizzle out. The player wants to come, the selling club needs the money, we've got the budget, and still nothing's moved. It's been dragging on for ages, not just this summer, but in previous windows too. So you start to wonder, if Celtic really wanted him, why's it not happened yet? Maybe Rodgers isn't convinced. Maybe the recruitment team think they can find someone better. And look, that might be true. Balikwisha is a decent player, but is he the one who transforms our attack? Hard to say. He might still end up holding the scarf above his head outside Parkhead next week. But I'm not holding my breath. This is the kind of thing we've seen again and again. We take our time, we dither, and then suddenly deadline day hits and we're rushing about looking for options. I get that we're trying to be careful, trying to get value, trying to get the right player. But there's a difference between being smart and being slow. And right now, we're closer to the latter. So where does all that leave us? We've got a squad that's got the bones of something great. Solid keeper quality, fullbacks, a strong midfield, but we're still missing the final pieces. We need a center back that commands the backline, a right winger that takes people on and delivers, a left-sided player who can rotate with Jota's absence, and a number 9 who puts fear into defenses. The season's coming at us fast. The league opener's just round the corner. The Champions League playoff is breathing down our neck. We've got a squad registration deadline in less than a month. So this isn't just about scouting and negotiating anymore. It's about action. It's about getting deals over the line. We've got the resources, we've got the manager, and we've got the pull. Now we just need to move. Right, I've probably rattled on long enough today considering how quiet things actually are. But I hope you found this useful. Things might be slow on the surface, but there's plenty bubbling underneath. Stay tuned because once the first domino falls, the whole picture could change quickly. And let's be honest, it's never really quiet at Celtic for long. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Whispers are swirling around the Scottish footballing world, and if the latest rumors are to be believed, we could be on the cusp of one of the most sensational homecomings in recent memory. Word from sources close to the club suggests that Andrew Robertson, Scotland's beloved captain and Liverpool's ever-reliable left-back, might just be set for a stunning switch to Parkhead. Aye, you read that right, Andy Robertson, the pride of Glasgow and the man who lifted the Champions League with the Reds, could be donning the green and white hoops of Celtic. Though nothing's been confirmed officially, and representatives on both sides are keeping their lips tightly sealed, the chatter is growing louder by the hour. Pubs from Govan to Gallowgate are abuzz with talk of Robertson returning to his roots, not just to Scotland, but to Celtic, the club many believe he's always held close to his heart. Insiders claim the discussions have been ongoing quietly for weeks, with Celtic looking to make a marquee signing that would set the tone, both on the pitch and in the dressing room, with Liverpool reportedly planning a rebuild and younger talent coming through the ranks. The timing could be right for Robertson to consider his next chapter. And what better place than home? Robertson has never been shy about his love for his hometown. And though he came up through Queen's Park before rising to Premier League stardom with Hull City and then Liverpool, there's always been that unshakable Scottish spirit in him, something that would undoubtedly resonate deeply at Celtic Park. Of course, the financial aspect is a major hurdle, and many question whether the boys could match even a portion of what the Anfield side currently shell out. But when it comes to legacy, leadership, and passion, there's little doubt that Celtic would move mountains to bring in someone of Robbo's caliber. Is it a done deal? Far from it. Is it possible? More than ever. One thing's for sure. This rumor won't be going away quietly. Keep your ears to the ground, Scotland. Something big might just be brewing in the east end of Glasgow. Hello, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.